This is insane. This is the
Yeah.
craziest story.
I requested to never have that attending ever again. I've done a lot of healing. I've done a lot of
Uh-huh.
healing.
Hi, I'm Katie, three-time NICU mom turned medical mom turned podcaster. I've spent way too many days in the NICU, and it's changed my life forever. I've been the terrified mom with 1,000 questions and no one to ask. So now I talk about it. On the Tiny Titans podcast, I say the quiet things out loud. NICU guilt? Yeah, we go there. God moments? Absolutely. This space is for NICU parents and the people who love them. Let's tell the truth. Let's tell the stories and let's pass them on so the next NICU parent knows they're not alone and maybe finds what they need just when they need it. Like and subscribe if you're on a NICU journey too. You're not alone. Welcome to the Tiny Titans podcast. I am so glad you're here. Hi, friends. Welcome to the Tiny Titans podcast. My name is Katie. I am your host and creator of Tiny Titans Collective. And today we are meeting my friend Traci. I met Traci on TikTok. I meet quite a lot of NICU besties on TikTok. And we agreed to tell each other our NICU micro preemie stories because Traci has a micro preemie, a 23-weeker named Kairi. And we are going to learn about her whole story right now. Let's go.
Okay, so we'll just dive right in. I really like starting at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And because it was such a big deal in my story, like the pregnancy part for like each of my girls, let's just start like, were you trying to get pregnant with your first? Like, how did that go?
Yeah. So with Kairi, that's her name. She was planned. We had our wedding in July of, oh my God, 2020. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And then right after I stopped taking the pill and we tried for her and we got pregnant first try. That was a
Wow.
shock because we were told
Yeah.
that it could take a little while. Apparently not for us. And we were both like, uh, mainly me. I wanted to surprise him. So
Okay.
I got like a cute little onesie with a little thing that said, like a baby is brewing, and I put up my phone so I could record his reaction. And he's significantly taller than me. He's 6'3". So when he came
Okay.
in, I had put my phone up just high enough to where he could see it because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to get his entire person. And
Right.
he turned it off. And, like, he walked in, turned it off. I never got the recording, but then I was like, "Okay, well, can you at least look at the kitchen table?" And he looked at it and he started crying, and that's how we found out about her. She was planned. Everything else wasn't,
Good.
though.
Okay. So then what about the pregnancy? Like how did you feel? Like was it kind of like run of the mill pregnancy or were there like signs and things that were happening?
Um, I think it well, I was instantly afraid. My gut instinct was like, I hope nothing bad happens. And normally your body and your gut tends to know
Mm-hmm.
subconsciously, something's going to happen. And
Right.
I just had a lot of worry. I didn't really have any issues though. Everything was fine up until the anatomy scan. The anatomy
Okay.
scan is when we found out that she had a two vessel umbilical cord. So she
I
wasn't.
don't want to interrupt you, but I just want to make sure I'm clear on the timeline. Did you do your anatomy scan early at all, like 18, or was this like 20 weeks or
This is
21
around like
weeks?
20.
Okay. Okay. Keep going. So she had a two cord and you're supposed to have
Mhm.
a three, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so then what did they decide to do?
They were just gonna monitor her. They said that the only thing it could really affect is her size. So we were
Okay.
anticipating her to be a little bit smaller than what she would have been if she had a three. And then they couldn't get all the information they needed, so they wanted me to come back in like a week or two. So by then I think I was like 22 weeks.
Okay.
Um, that's when they realized that my cervix was shortening.
Okay.
And they couldn't figure out why. So they had sent me to the labor and delivery for monitoring. Everything was fine. When I left there, they decided that they were going to prescribe me supplemental progesterone that you insert.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when everything started to kind of change.
Okay.
Um, I don't, I know it's a huge coincidence, but not even like a week later after starting progesterone, I what developed preeclampsia and HELP syndrome, and she was being delivered. So I
So now,
personally,
just for our listeners, because I want to make
Mhm.
you and I know we're
Yeah,
really well versed on this, but for our listeners, progesterone is used for it. What I did the exact same thing, suppositories with Cassie.
yeah,
So what they told me was it was supposed to help balance everything and keep everything where it was supposed to go
yeah,
because they thought my body wasn't making enough of that hormone in order to like keep her safe and like stuck in there.
yeah. So
Is that kind of
they didn't say anything like that to me. Honestly, I
oh,
felt very confused. They were just like, "We're gonna give you this. This is supposed to help your cervix from doing what it's doing."
okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
So
I
then you
know.
did that for a week only then, right?
Not even a week, yeah. And then I just got really sick. Really, really sick.
Okay.
I was up all night vomiting. I could not keep food down. And then the one thing that really stuck out to me the most was my vomit was like foam. It was really
Okay.
weird and not common. So then what pushed me to the ER, by then I was like 23 weeks at this point. Um,
Okay.
I started to get like heartburn pain. And so I woke my husband up in the middle of the night and I said, "Hey, I'm going to go to the ER. I just don't feel good. I'm going to go." So he's like, "Okay, call me if you need me." Because he had work the next day. So I get there
Okay.
around midnight. Um,
Okay.
oh, I just wasn't sure if you had a question. Sorry.
No, no, no.
Um,
Keep going. Keep
okay.
going.
Okay. So when I got to the ER, they put me in labor and delivery, monitored her, everything. Everything seemed okay. They gave me IV Pepsid. I was I felt fine after that. I felt amazing after that, honestly. I was like, "Dang, I can go home, I can eat something. This is exactly what I needed." So as I was about to get discharged and they had put me back into the ER, the L&D doctor came rushing back in and said, "Mm-mm, you're not going home. Your blood work came back really wonky and your urine has a ton of protein. We're keeping you."
Oh,
And I was like, "What does that mean?"
yeah.
And they were just like, we're just going to monitor you for a little bit." I was like, "Okay." So I texted my husband. I was like, "I'm not leaving." And he's like, "Okay, am I going to work?" And I was like, "I don't know. I really don't know
Yeah.
what's going on." And everything happened so fast that I still did not understand what was happening. By then, they told me they were going to transfer me to another hospital that accepted 23 weekers. And I was like, "Why am I going to another hospital?" And then they gave me one steroid shot. And then they were putting me in an ambulance. My husband beat me to the next hospital. And still, we had no idea what was going on. I didn't even know I had developed preeclampsia and HELP syndrome until we were at the second hospital and they came rushing in to have me sign consent forms for an emergency C-section. And even
Okay.
then, by then I was on magnesium. And
Which
I felt,
they just went to work on you as soon as you got to the second hospital then.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know what's happening. I still was so confused. And then when they came in and were like, "We need you to sign this. It's for an emergency C-section." I was just like, "Wait, is she coming today?" And the nurse was like, "She's coming today." And I was
Okay.
like, "Wait, this isn't, I'm not term. Like, what's going on?" And they said that I was going into liver failure initially. And they
Okay,
had
so
no
that's what the
choice.
protein was saying then.
Yeah, I
Okay.
was going into liver and kidney failure. That's what the help part is. My platelets were
Okay.
low. So the other thing that they were afraid of is when they gave me my emergency C-section, because of my platelet count, they were afraid that I was going to bleed out
Um,
because it was dangerously low. So there was
Mhm.
a ton of scary stuff and it happened so fast. Like when I got to the hospital to when she was actually born, it was like 12 hours.
Oh, man. Yeah,
But
so
it
it's just
happened
decision
so
after
fast.
decision.
Yes, and I felt like I wasn't a
Mhm.
part of any decision. I was just being
Well, you
told what
didn't
was
know what was
happening.
going on.
No, I didn't. My husband didn't even know what was going on. We were just like, "What?" And then all of a sudden, like,
So
she's here.
scary.
Yeah, they told us. So I had a classical C-section, and before they even, I guess, pulled out the sac or pulled out her,
Mhm.
they were like, "Oh, she's tiny," and I was like, "Okay, well, I can't really see her." Like I'm laying down right now. Like they did my spinal tap everything so fast. The only thing I remember from that whole incident was I started vomiting because of the spinal tap.
When they put the needle in?
As soon as I lay down, my husband was sitting next to my face with a bucket as I was getting sick because I
Oh
just
my
could
gosh.
not contain it. And they were like, "Can you stop?" And I was like, "Sure thing."
I'll just turn it off.
Right. I don't know how I'm supposed to just stop this. Like it's not I'm not trying to do it, but
Yeah,
whatever. They did tell us not to expect any sound because of how little she was, but when she came out, she was screaming. And right before that moment, I remember looking at my husband and I was like, I just hope that she's going to be okay. And he's like,
that
"She's
was
going to be
really
fine."
great. That's so awesome that she came out crying because she,
Yeah.
like, tried to dry out her lungs, like, so fast.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, I
awesome.
think everyone was shocked. But
Mhm.
she started crying right after. I was just like, "I just hope she's gonna be okay." My husband's like, "She's gonna be fine. She's got this." And then she started crying, and we just looked at each other and started crying together. And we were like,
That's so
"She's gonna be
great.
fine." And they put her on the table, started doing whatever they were doing, I guess, warming her up. And the doctor was like, "Oh, she's fighting us. She's so feisty." And that is still true to this day, 4 years later. She is
Yeah,
feisty. She's
yeah.
mean, but I think that's why she had so much fight and she showed it. And the doctor who delivered her was top notch. He did say that there was a chance of like brain bleeds and everything, but he was like, with the way that I am going to deliver her, I don't think she's going to have any issues. And he was so cocky, but
Confident.
yeah,
Yeah,
and he hit
yeah.
the nail on the head. She came out, she was completely no brain bleeds, nothing. She was
Good,
fine.
good.
He did a phenomenal job. And then for the first 2 hours of her life, they were having a hard time intubating her. And so what
Wow, for 2 hours you had to do that?
If you're still here listening to this NICU story, you're going to love the rest of the episodes on the Tiny Titans podcast. Go ahead and hit subscribe, and let's get back to today's story.
Oh
yeah,
my
so he
gosh.
had like the CPAP mask on her.
Yeah.
Um and what he ended up doing is he used the littlest catheter he could because she was only 1 pound and not
Mhm,
even 11 inches long. So she was tiny. She literally
mhm.
fit in the palm of our hands.
Yeah,
And he put the ET tube in, and then he put the littlest catheter through the ET tube to put surfactant into her lungs to
to get
expand
him.
them so that he could intubate her. And
So smart.
she hung on for 2 hours until he was able to get her intubated, and that starts her NICU journey.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay,
He
so
was
time out.
amazing.
I wanna, like, nitpick this apart really
Mhm,
quickly. Okay, so let's talk about your C-section really quickly.
mhm.
So, like, the actual experience of a C-section, in my experience, is you either remember it or you don't. So do you, like, remember, like, actually, like, the actual C-section part of it?
Vaguely.
Okay,
I am I really don't remember much.
okay.
I
Just
just
until,
remember
like,
the
getting
spinal
on the
tap.
table and then, like, she being born?
Yeah. That's pretty much
Okay.
the extent of it.
Okay. I was just wondering because I have had some other moms. I remember mine like kind of vividly about like the screen that was above my head and like kind of feeling like
Oh
I was
no.
on a boat and things like that. And I remember like getting strapped down and feeling like that initially and then like not caring that there was a baby coming at all. So
Yeah.
but I just didn't know
No.
if that was something
Mm-mm.
you experienced because it's
No.
all everyone's different. And then do you remember like how long did they have you on the magnesium? Did they have you on it after?
No. So as soon as she was born, I was fine. Like everything
Okay.
went back to normal.
So everything in you stabilized then.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as
Okay.
she was delivered. It was weird. Yeah. And they also didn't strap me down. Yeah. I definitely don't remember being strapped down at all.
I was like Jesus on a cross. Like
I
I
mean, I
was
had my arms out, but they were not strapped down. I don't think
oh
anything on my
yeah.
body was strapped down.
I it might have been because I was fighting or something, but like I had like
Oh.
my legs were strapped down, my arms were strapped down. I had a strap across my chest so I couldn't sit up.
Oh. Yeah,
Um,
no. They didn't do any of that. I guess they
that might be
trusted me.
different
I don't know.
hospitals. That could be different hospital
Yeah.
procedures too, because that's another thing I'm running into is like every hospital does it a little different, and we kind of
Yep.
like pick what's good from this and use it over here. Okay, so rewind. We're back
Mhm.
to she's born and they wheel her off to the NICU. You start feeling better. Does your husband stay with you or does he go with Kyra?
Yeah, he
Kyrie.
stayed with me.
Okay. So then you were kind of confident about how she was doing,
So I don't
or they
really
didn't let him go?
he chose not to. So one of
Okay.
our things is and even now this is still kind of like a thing that if it's between me or them, he would rather have me.
Okay.
Now that's a little different. Um, because now that we know her and everything, 100% I would have wanted him to to save her, but ultimately he's like, I wouldn't have them without you. And
Yeah.
especially seeing as we have other kids, like I would rather be there for my other children than leave them. Like I can grieve and get over that, but leaving you with a medically complex child and twins feels
Mhm.
unfair.
No,
Um,
I get it. We had to have the exact same conversation
yeah.
and the whole and in like in and out of magnesium
Yeah.
like medicine head, like
Yes.
barely remembering what's going on. Yeah, we had that conversation too. It's a scary one because
Yes.
it's always like a hypothetical, like
Yeah.
what would you do if a tornado was coming at you or Godzilla? Like that's
Yeah.
kind of the conversation that we're having. No one thinks that you're going to actually have to choose that you're
Yeah.
going to actually have to put that into practice. So that's
Yeah.
crazy. Okay. So he stayed with you and they finally get her intubated after 2
Mhm.
hours, which is crazy. Um so then like how did you guys navigate like the first like let's just take the first week because the first week there's like a lot going on. Like
Yeah.
what did you decide? Did you have like a support system or how did that go?
No, we didn't really have a support system. Um, I don't want to insult like the family, but I
No,
get
it's
it.
fine.
There's really not much that you can do in that situation. Um, so I I probably have one of the best C-sections of my life, I'll be honest. I hear so many horror stories. The doctor who did my C-section, amazing. I had no issues. I was up walking within a couple hours, going to the NICU.
No way.
Yeah, I had no
Oh my
pain.
gosh.
Yeah, I definitely think I'm a unicorn in that aspect. That or I just
Yeah.
had so much like mental trauma that my physical just didn't even phase
Your like
me.
adrenaline was running. You
Yeah.
very well could have just been feeling so horrible with having preeclampsia and help that you were like, "Oh, I'm a person again."
Well, so that's actually the funny thing is
Hey, wait a minute. Did you know Tiny Titans Collective has merch now? It's over on Etsy and TikTok Shop.
I joke with people all the time that I felt so good that if that is what dying felt like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I could go run a marathon right now. I am on fire. I am on top of the world. It was such a bizarre feeling. I've never felt that way before, but I was just like, I could just like get up and clip my heels together. Like I it was
Yeah.
really weird and everyone was like, "Okay, you need to we need to do this emergency C-section stat. Like we're about to lose her." Not really, but it was
No, no,
weird.
I completely understand.
It was such a bizarre feeling. And then my husband's like,
Yeah.
we're both confused at what's going on. And then like I worked in a NICU, but
Okay.
I don't remember seeing premature babies. I always thought that it was just full term babies that had some issues. I That's where me being young and naive kind of came in, and then 6 years later I was on the other side and realized that that's not the case.
Right.
And he was like, "I didn't even know this could happen." And I was like,
Yeah.
"I did, but I didn't know it happens this often." And
Yeah.
we I remember walking to the NICU and they were just like, I think they told me that every 3/4 of an ml, or like 0.75 ml of breast milk, is enough to save a premature baby's life.
Mhm.
That's what they told me. And I was like, all right, dedicated to pumping. Let's do this. And
Yeah.
I saw her as much as I could, but I really, it was like that whole thing is a blur to me. I
Okay.
remember being there and like seeing her and taking pictures of her, but I don't really remember anything else. I think I was just kind of out of body
Maybe in
experience.
shock.
Yeah. And then she was like 3 or 4 days old and they let me hold her for the first time. They said that kangaroo care is incredibly important.
Mhm.
And I think that could have potentially been a big factor as to why she did okay. Um, but then I started to feel like maybe me being there wasn't a good thing. But that wasn't going to stop me showing up for her. And I remember when her eyes,
Why did you feel that? Why did you feel like you were not a good like you were not good for her?
well, because I just didn't really know what was going on. I couldn't really be the advocate for her that she needed. I
Oh, I
kind
see.
of was just like, oh, yeah, whatever, we'll do whatever. I mean, the only thing that I really thought that I could do at that moment was just pump for her. And so
Okay.
my husband helped me with that. He was the one who set the alarms for every three
So
hours. He
sweet.
set the alarms. He would hold a pump on one boob, I would hold the other one. He would pump, like, he would help me pump, and then he would put the milk in the little container thing, little, I forgot what
Yeah.
it's called. And then he would label it and hand it to the nurse, or he would walk it over to the NICU for
Walk
her.
it down there. Yeah.
So yeah, so he was very
Milkman.
hands-on. Yeah, he literally was. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was great. He would wash the pump parts when I was done, and he was the
Yeah.
biggest
We
support.
love a NICU dad. We
Yeah,
love a NICU dad.
yeah.
That's
Oh, he.
awesome.
I could not have survived without him, honestly.
This is great. This is not a question I was going to ask you, but um, seeing as our stories are so similar, how do you feel like having a NICU baby and then we'll get to this part of your story, but a medically complex kiddo then home, how has that like affected, changed, or like your marriage, like how you see your husband, or like have you guys talked about that? Have you had to go through therapy? Like,
Yes. So we've both done EMDR.
okay,
I don't think that I think that we were so numb during the entire NICU stay that we never got to actually feel what we were supposed to be feeling. So I think
yeah,
we were just so stuck into her survival and doing what we needed to do for her that we completely neglected ourselves. And
yeah,
our entire 11-month stay was just about her. And so when we came home, that's when I started to experience postpartum rage really bad. And I was starting to kind of tell him that I didn't like him.
hmm,
Um, which is funny because I really don't think that I could have made it through the NICU without him. He was definitely the backbone for both of us. He kept strong for both of us.
yeah.
And now, because we have talked about it now, like 3 years
Since.
later,
Right.
um, in one of the interviews I did with him, uh, I was just like, how do you think that I could have really been supportive for you? And he was like, that wasn't your job. My job was to be supportive for you.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So he didn't get to experience the postpartum aspect of it because men do it too. I know people are going to hate on that, but men do experience postpartum. It just in a different way without all
Totally
of
different way.
the mental aspect of it. But he was thrown
Yeah,
into the life too. And I mean, I know afterwards he acted out of rage. Um, he did and said some things that, I would never throw him under the bus for because
sure.
I
No,
get
no,
it.
no. We're not here to dog on him. My
Yeah.
my question is more broad than that. It's kind of more of just letting other NICU parents know that like this is a hard time. It's
Yes.
going to be a hard time, and then like just kind of ride it together so that you
Yeah.
can keep working through that. Um, and then like you're a testament to getting home and then doing the work for your relationship that you couldn't do when you were in the NICU, which is super
Right.
important that other NICU parents know that you're gonna get there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I think when we
So,
were in the NICU, our relationship, I think we felt closer. But then once
okay.
she came home, it felt like the roles had changed a little bit
Mhm.
and more of the responsibility fell more on me.
Yeah.
But that kind of also extends to the NICU stay. So I'll get into that and then we can finish that because they kind of go hand in hand as to why I felt
Sure.
that way. So,
Sure.
we were only at the first hospital for 2 weeks. We got transferred to the second hospital because she got diagnosed with the
Okay.
necrotizing
Okay.
enterocolitis. So
Yes,
they,
that's a killer right there. So first of all,
yes,
that's another miracle
yeah,
because we had a sign in our hospital that said like so many days since neck infection. And like I was there long enough that it got like reset twice. And I was like, oh, this is scary. We didn't have that
yeah,
situation, but like I know it is a big, huge issue in the NICU.
yeah. They were fortifying my breast milk. Um, and I think that's ultimately what happened. They
Okay.
should have never done that. Now, knowing what I know now, 100% I would have advocated against it, but I didn't know. I was
Okay.
2 weeks in. So then we got transferred to the second hospital.
Okay.
And we thought it was a good idea to stay there.
To stay or to
Time
transfer?
to stay. So we had the
Okay.
option to transfer there, do what we needed to do, and go back.
Okay. All right.
Um, and it's funny during the actual transfer, she rode in the ambulance, obviously. And when we
Mhm.
got there, though, I guess the EMT or the nurse who was in the actual ambulance with her, when she got her settled in the room, came out to see us in the like waiting area. She was like, "She is the first baby I had to pull over on the side of the road for." I'll tell you
Oh
that.
my god.
Because she decided to drop her heart rate. And this is how dramatic she is still to this day. When she went in
Mhm.
to like make her stop braiding, my daughter went, threw her hand up. And that is, I have pictures of her doing that. There was a sign in her room that said, please refrain from touching me outside of cares. And one of the nurses held it up and she was going like this in front of the picture. I'll have to send it to you. It's so funny. But
I
that's
love
exactly
that.
how she
Not
was.
today.
Mhm.
Not today.
That's exactly how she was. She was just like, I'm
I
not
love
dealing
it.
with this. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Like
And
I've
that's
had
pretty much
enough.
how it went. Yeah. Um, well, so then we got to the second hospital. The second hospital was a teaching hospital.
Okay.
And we unfortunately had the residents. I understand you got to learn somehow. I just wish it
I was
wasn't
gonna say
on.
we don't hate teaching hospitals, but I think there's some boundaries that need to be put on that are
Yes.
not put on right now.
Yes.
maybe more of a looky and no touchy for the micro preemies would be a big one for me. Like I'm fine with them
Yes.
standing there and observing because they've never seen a 22, 23, 24 weeker because they're miraculous. I get that. And everyone should see it so that you know what to expect. But I
Yeah.
really don't think that you should be handling the babies. That's just what I
That,
think.
but also I think that you need to put your ego aside and understand that you're you're learning how to be a doctor and you should not be
Hmm.
allowed to make decisions for my kid. I need somebody who's done this, been there, done that. And that's where my frustration came from. Is a lot of the times they would make decisions that didn't make sense.
Okay.
And I was just like that okay, that's what really started me kind of looking into like more of the stuff, but I was just like whatever. So we were there for like a couple weeks and then she got neck again
Oh.
cuz again, they started refortifying my breast milk. And I was
So
like,
did they
okay.
go so did they have to go in and do anything for neck? Like, how
Mm-mm.
did they treat that? She
No,
just
she had a
fought the
replogable tube.
infection.
So it's kind of like an NG tube, but instead of it putting stuff into the stomach, it sucks things out of the stomach. So she
Okay.
had that. Then she was made MPO, so she wasn't given any feeds at the time, and then
Yeah.
she had IV antibiotics. So this
Okay.
she was given this 3 times because we had neck 3 times.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. By the third time, I was like, this is getting effing ridiculous. Can we stop fortifying my breast milk, please? Like, just give her a break because this is
Yeah.
clearly not working. And that ultimately is what led to her respiratory distress because when your belly's sick, the rest of you is sick. And we
Well,
tried
she might have been able to
extubation.
make it through one bout, but 3 on top of each other.
Yes. Yeah, it was very frustrating. And then like I had one of those I had a nurse that I think she was like in orientation, like an orientation nurse. I'm not really sure who she was. She has said to this day she will never forget about us. And again, I'm sorry if you ever see this. But I was getting ready to do kangaroo care and she was
Okay.
maybe like a month or two old at this point and she was intubated. They put her on my chest with kangaroo care because we had private rooms and whatever. They gave us warm blankets. I had no shirt on, no bra on, from the top up, completely naked.
Okay.
That's important.
Okay.
She puts my daughter on my chest, accidentally pushes the ET tube in, and my
Oh no.
daughter clamped down and stopped breathing.
Oh my gosh.
So the nurse grabbed the little bag, hooked it up, and was bagging my daughter on my chest. And she's yelling at this orientation new nurse saying, hit the button, hit the button. We got to hit the code red button.
Oh yeah.
And I'm crying hysterically because I'm like, my daughter is like turning colors on my chest.
What
She's
just
bagging her on my
happened?
chest. Yeah. And the nurse is crying. She's running around the room like a frantic person. It got to a point where I'm like, I'm looking at the button. I could get up and hit it. I could literally hit the button right now. Just hit the damn button. Like both the nurse and I were like, just hit the button. And like
What?
she was freaking out. She was crying. When she finally hit the button, which I'm sure it was only like a couple seconds of her frantically running around like the building was on fire.
Too many
I
seconds.
too many seconds. Yes. She hit the button. 30 or 40 doctors came rushing in, took my daughter off my chest, put her down. Everyone's in the hallway looking, and I'm practically naked. And I'm just like, oh, cool. So the nurse who was freaking out, she came over, she brought me a blanket,
Oh my god.
and she was like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's okay. She's like, I'm never gonna forget you guys. And I'm like, at this rate, you better never forget about us. Because
Like
that
this
was
is burned in my brain too.
yes, this is a story to tell her. They got her settled, but I did not hold her the rest of the day. And then that one nurse who was bagging her, she was like, I don't know, I feel like we need to check her blood work, like her hematocrit, because it was just like she was a little more pale than she normally was, and
Okay.
it was the fellow. He was like,
Okay.
I think that she's fine. Well, a
Okay.
couple hours passed. Um,
So they didn't check anything.
no. A couple hours
Okay.
passed, and then she started acting funny, and then they checked it, and shocker, she needed a blood transfusion. So that's
Okay.
where my problem kind of came in. I was just like, I don't think that you guys need to be making these decisions when you don't understand the decisions you're making.
Right.
And it almost felt like
So,
she was a test subject.
okay. So at the hospital that you were at, did they ever, or do you know now, did they have like a lot of success with preemies and micro preemies and
I don't know. Honestly,
okay.
I don't know. I didn't even think to check that. Um,
It's just a
we,
random question that I just thought
yeah,
of just now,
yeah.
because that was one of the things that when we were moved to Chicago for Carter's heart surgery, it was because they were like, "Hey, we're not equipped. They are equipped, and they have already dealt with a lot of preemie babies who do tiny surgeries. They have the tiny equipment, and we don't have the tiny equipment. So that's why we had to move. So I didn't know if like your initial moving because she had neck was because they were like specializing in it or like they had more experience.
No. So we moved because they weren't sure if she would need surgery or not.
Okay. And they weren't equipped at your first hospital for that.
Correct, yeah. And she ended up
Right.
not needing surgery,
Thank
thankfully.
God. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I think that was like the extent after our third round of neck. She ended up doing the DART protocol, and we got
Okay,
down.
what's that?
So it's dexamethasone. It's a steroid, a really good steroid
Okay.
that they give
Okay.
to little babies to help their lungs. Because I
Their
think
lungs.
now we're
Yep.
going into March or April. And her due date was
So
May
how old is
26th.
she now?
Like 3 months.
After her
Still not
third round of
corrected.
neck?
Yeah. Still not corrected. Her due date was May 26th. So
Okay, so she's
we
not
still
even to her due date yet.
no. No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Um but they did that. She was doing really good. We got her down to 1 liter.
Oh wow.
She started bottle feeding. And then it was like, oh, we can see the light. They said by her due date, and we're so close. Like, we were moving into May. Things were starting to kind of settle down a little bit. And all of a sudden, she just like took a turn. I got called one night and she coded. And I
Okay.
was like, okay, I don't think that I'm sick or anything. I don't think that my husband's sick. This is super weird. They had put her back onto CPAP at that point from 1 liter. And
Right.
I was like, okay, well, now we're backtracking, but we got to figure out what's going on. So they ran all these tests, everything was fine. Um, and I was kind of like, at that point, I was getting kind of aggravated with the doctors because I was like, she's doing good. Why are we not attempting to wean her down? And they were just like, well, we want to give her some time. And I'm like, well, I'm trying to get the F out of here. But okay, we'll give her some
Okay.
time. Um, and then like a few days passed and I come in and seeing how they were all like, well, we're going to wait and see. That was their motto. We're going to wait and see. And I hated that. I think that's such a terrible motto. Um, but anywho, I came in and she had vomited mucus. And she just looked like she didn't feel well.
So there's
And
mucus, yeah.
now this is June. It was June
Oh, so
26th.
this is like a while. So this is like slowly getting worse.
Yes.
Okay.
Um, but it was June 26th. She was on NIPV at 100% max settings and she was still desatting.
Really?
And I looked at the nurse and I was like, can we call the doctor? Like something just doesn't feel right. Like the way that she's breathing, the way that she's acting, it just doesn't feel right. And it took the doctor like 2 hours to see
to get
us,
there.
which pissed me off because I felt like she was like suffering for 2 hours. But they
Emergent.
ran,
Yeah.
yeah, but they ran a blood gas. The blood gas was like in the 70s or 80s. It was not good. Her CO2 was really high. And
Yeah.
they made the decision to intubate her. Um, and then that's when they started putting her on Versed and Ativan and
Okay, but she had mucus. Like, why didn't we do? I'm sorry.
you're I
So
know.
sorry.
I know. I know. They've done x-rays and everything. They did x-rays and their excuse was, well, sometimes babies just backtrack on darts sometimes. And I was like, okay, I would understand that if it wasn't to this extent. We went from 1 liter of low
Yeah, that's
flow
a really big swing.
back to intubation. Not only was she
And it was like
intubated,
over weeks too, right? So then it was not like she was good and then she was bad. It was like she was good and then someone missed something.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So June 26th is when I started my journaling.
Okay.
And I wrote down everything. There was
Hmm.
nothing getting by me. Even the nurses. I wrote down the nurses. I wrote down literally everything.
Just
Well,
charting.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Uh it was so it was June 26th and then I think not even a week later it was July 3rd. And they were trying to figure out what was going on. They thought she had fell into a pulmonary hypertension crisis. They put her on nitric. They
Oh my gosh.
had her on maxed ventilator settings. All of the fun stuff.
Okay,
Uh,
so then for listeners, that's pretty much max everything. That's Knox box, that's oxygen, that's the most amount of support that a tiny baby can even survive,
yeah,
let alone
before
being sick in
ECMO.
order to need that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
it's one
ECMO is
step
like
before
such a
ECMO.
sad, let's not even go. That's like so, yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what, like how did, like, was there a diagnosis? Did they find anything that was causing this?
Um. Yes. So I had done research, and I was like, she is presenting the symptoms of somebody who has pneumonia. I don't believe that it's a pulmonary hypertension crisis at all. I think that this is pneumonia and we need to really dig into it. And I was like, can we run a sputum test?
Hmm.
And the same doctor that had neglected her previously for neck 3 times um was like, I don't think so. I don't think it's that. I think it's a pulmonary hypertension crisis. And I was like, okay, I don't think it's that at all. I think that you're wrong. So I fought with them for about a week. Nothing happened.
No,
And
a week?
yeah. So
Okay, I'm
then,
sorry. Keep going.
yeah. So then July 3rd came and we got called into the hospital because she just wasn't doing good.
Hmm.
And we were there all night. And I remember like going to sit by her bed and I just told her that if she couldn't hang on anymore, that it was okay, that I would
No.
forgive her. And something in me that night cracked. Um, we made it through the night, but it was hard. Everyone was holding their breath. You couldn't even stand in the room without her coding. And it got so bad to where me and my husband were sitting on the couch and they did a it was code blue, not code red. I'm sorry. They did a code blue. They hit the button. Everyone's in the room, and we're just watching them bag her. And
Mm.
I'm looking at the monitor. Her heart rate's dropping. Her everything's dropping. Her oxygen hit 0. She was blue, and I was like, "Is this it?"
Yeah.
And then like I had a split second decision. Like, am I okay with this? Am I actually gonna be okay with this? And I was just like, I have to accept it. if it does happen.
Mhm.
And it felt like the longest, like 30 seconds of my life, I'll be honest. Because I was like,
Okay.
I think this is it. I think this might be the night that we're saying goodbye. And then all of a sudden, she stopped. Her heart rate came back up, her oxygen came back up, and she stabilized.
There's
And
just
they were
nothing.
just,
There's nothing.
yeah. And I was like, what is okay? So then the
Wow.
doctor that had just went through this stuff with me, she came in and she was like, I am so sorry that this is happening and we're trying to figure it out. And I was like, honey, you're a terrible doctor. And I'm going to tell you right now that if she dies tonight, I'm going to stand in a courtroom and explain happily with a smile on my face why I fucked you up. I'm going to catch you outside. Like, I'm going to meet you on the street. Please wash your back. You have neglected my child until we got to this point, and now I'm infuriated. And she's like,
Yeah.
okay, have a nice night. And I was like, I'm going to burn this fucking. It's going down. Everything's going down. But, like, I don't want them to sue me or anything. Obviously, I would not have done that. But um, I felt very strongly about it. So then the morning came, the nurse came walking in, and she was one of our routine nurses. And she sat down next to me, and she's like, I'm so sorry. If I was you right now, I would have I would be so angry. And I was like, angry does not describe how I feel. I'm numb.
Past that. We're past that.
Yeah, I'm numb at this point. I have nothing left. If she if I lose her, I have nothing left to live for. Like I
Mhm.
really am just that's it. And she was like, "Well, we have a new attending on. Thank God." And the attending came in and was like, "I looked at her X-ray. I heard you wanted to run a sputum test. Let's run the sputum test." Within a couple hours, it came back positive for Klebsiella pneumonia. Shocker.
Dang.
Even though I was told that mother's intuition isn't backed by scientific data. And they started her on
That
antibiotics.
doctor can get bent. I'm like
Thank
so
you.
mad for you right now.
Oh,
This
I
is
was
this is
infuriated.
not for like yeah, so this for our audience, this is not how you NICU is supposed to go. This is
Mm-mm.
not this is a classic case of someone's messed up, someone didn't apologize, someone's pride is wounded and is not we're not taking
Yeah.
care of the patient now. This
Yes.
is no longer about the baby, and that's a problem. So
Yep.
that and for any NICU mom listening, if you're listening to this, take it from Tracy, take it from me. Don't stand for that. You find
No.
a second, third, fourth opinion. You ask someone else. You call anyone if you can't figure it out. So this is insane. This is the
Yeah.
craziest story.
Yeah.
I can't.
I've done a lot of healing. I've done a lot of
Uh-huh.
healing. But I'm
Yeah.
still like heartbroken that my daughter had to go through all of that. Just for this new attending to say the second she looked at her x-ray that she would have started her on antibiotics.
Like a week ago, probably.
Yeah. And
It's
I w-
huge.
I
That's a
I was
huge amount of time.
yeah, I was just like I am really trying to not go psychotic on you. I'm
Mhm.
trying. So then
Mhm.
that I requested to never have that attending ever again. The one who neglected her and did all of or didn't
Mhm.
do all of the things that she was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And we started a vigorous round of antibiotics, and then by then she had blown up. She had went from like 7 pounds to like 15 pounds.
Oh, she's just retaining all the fluid.
She blew up, yeah. And then her head started to get kind of like square and flat because they were afraid to touch her. Initially, she had gotten so good at registering who was coming into the room that in our room we had a red line. I guess it's like after you step over that red line, you must be wearing PPE,
Yeah.
protective gear. Um,
Yeah.
so whenever anybody would get to that line, she would immediately start braiding. She'd be like, "Nope, get out." get out this room right now. And she would Brady until they left. Like, she would not stop.
She didn't want to be touched.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
didn't. And so, like, that made it very difficult for me because I mentally was not, I was not in it. I could not be as strong for her in that moment that she deserved. And I
Yeah.
knew that because I knew that she fed off my energy.
Hmm.
So I had to almost put on this like face when I went in there. And then I was there all day, every day. And I didn't see her until my husband got off work. It got to a point where I actually made him quit his job so that he could be with
Wow.
me.
Okay.
Um, and then it was during COVID. So I had applied for a new job thinking it would take a little bit for him to get a new job because COVID, and he ended up getting called and hired the next day. So he was only home with me for for like a month, not even. And then he
I
went
mean,
back
that's
to
like a
work.
mixed blessing, right? You're like, we need
Yeah.
money, but I didn't really want that to happen yet.
Yeah. I mean, like, we could have done it on my salary because the economy was completely different at that time than what
Yeah.
it is right now.
Yeah.
But I worked from the hospital. I had a great team behind me who allowed me to do that, and he kind of stayed out of my way. Um, and when I asked him why he didn't feel like he had to get involved with all of that craziness, that my charting and everything, he was like, "I knew you had it." And that's when my fight really started with the doctors, because she started to get better, but they were doing the whole, like, the RTs were saying one thing, the attendings and residents were saying another thing. They were like, "She's
Okay.
a big baby. She's a bigger baby. We don't know how to handle this."
Okay.
Okay. What do you
Was she still
mean?
intubated?
Yes. So,
Okay.
so my goal was I wanted her to be extubated by my birthday.
Okay.
They were like, "I don't think that's going to happen because she's not ready for this." And she had got intubated in June by then. So, like, my birthday was in September. I was like, I feel like that's realistic. So, the new attendings would come in and they would like make subtle changes, but their excuse was that she was a bigger baby and that they didn't know how to treat her. Was the RTs were like, "Why would just do this?" So then I was like, "Okay, we need to have a meeting." Because they kept trying to say, "Well, she needs a trach. She needs a trach." And I was like, "She was at 1 liter before bottle
Yeah.
feeding. I don't think in my gut, I don't believe that she needs a trach. I believe that she needs a good team behind her. And right now we don't have that. So, can we leave out this whole whatever? I want to have a meeting." And in this meeting, they kept saying, it's okay. Like, she just needs a trach and all of this. And I was like, "I'm going to tell you right now, the next time you bring up a trach, when I'm telling you no repeatedly, because I personally feel like my daughter doesn't need it, the next conversation we're going to have is going to be with my attorney. I'm not
Hmm.
doing this anymore." And they were
Well, by
like,
this time, you've already got like 10 stories of them not listening to you, crazy stuff happening in front of
yeah.
you, people like dropping the ball in front of you. So I 100% understand where you're like, no, we'll be taking my advice now.
Yeah, I was over it. And that's not even the
Yeah.
craziest part. While she was intubated and they were doing this whole, "Well, we don't know how to treat her and everything," I have a video of her, and one day I'll be allowed to post all of it. And I'm gonna post all of it, regardless of who
Hmm.
gets upset, who's uncomfortable, because you can't re- rewrite the truth when there's videos and pictures to prove it.
Yeah.
And I remember I was yelling at the nurse because she was supposed to, she was intubated. She's supposed to be like almost paralyzed, but like the paralytic wore
Sedated.
off. She was supposed to be sedated,
Okay.
and she was like fidgeting, and her monitor, her pulse ox and everything, her oxygen kept dipping, and I was like, "Something's wrong." So I ran out into the hallway. The nurse was in another room. She's like, "I'm doing cares. I'll call the RT in a second." I was like, "I'm not okay with this." So I recorded her. She's fidgeting, like she's looking at me. You can tell that she looks like she's in distress. And I was like, "What is going on?" So I ran back out into the hallway because I'm like, I'm about to hit this button myself. And thankfully, the RT came out. I was like, "Dennis, I need you right now." Oh, shit. Block that name out.
That's okay. I love when we're on a first name basis with our respiratory therapists. I love it. They're
Yeah.
superheroes. It's great.
Yeah, I just
We'll
don't
just
want
clip
his
it.
name.
It'll be fine.
Yeah,
So you
so
called the respiratory therapist and they came
yes.
in.
Yes. And I was like, "You need something's wrong." And I was standing there, like, with my phone out, like, should I record? I probably shouldn't. But I don't remember if I recorded this part. And he like suctioned her, and then she stopped and she settled and went back to bed. What had happened was whoever suctioned her previously did not put the little catheter up all the way. So it was blocking her airway and preventing her from getting oxygen.
Yeah.
And I was
You
like,
can't do that.
no, you can't do that. That's why she was freaking out the way that she was. And
Yeah,
I'm
because she was like, I
thankful.
usually can figure this out. There's all these tubes keeping me alive and I still can't breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, that's cool. So she's not safe anywhere. Like, that's
Yeah.
pretty much how I felt, is that she
Yeah.
wasn't safe if I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And the only reason she ended up getting extubated with their whole we don't know how to wean her bullcrap was because she did it herself. And we had a new attending. That attending was the director. And she called me, and I was actually on my way into the hospital. And she said, "Hey, just wanted to give you an update. She extubated herself." And I was like, "Oh my God, this girl." And she was like, "It's fine. I contemplated intubating her again. However, I decided I was going to give her a chance. I put her on NIPV, which is like a step higher than CPAP for anybody listening.
Yeah.
And they started her on DART again because they wanted her to stay extubated. So they started
Okay.
her back on the steroids.
I
And
understand the protocol part of it. It just gives me a little pause, but I
yeah,
understand the
yeah,
hospital protocol.
yeah. So she was the only one who was actually on my side. She wanted to give my daughter a chance, and she was like, "You don't think that she needs a trach? I believe you. Then let's actually give her a chance." And I was like, "Thank
Yeah.
you." So then I
Thank
got to
God.
hold her, I know, for the first time since June, like a week before my birthday. And it was a completely different feeling because I went from a 7-pound baby to a 15-pound baby.
Oh
So
my
I was
gosh.
holding this massive thing. Um,
She's
and
such a
then,
chunker too in
mm-hmm,
her little picture. She's so
yeah,
round.
mm-hmm, yeah. And that's what started the next round of bullcrap, unfortunately. Because
Tracy, take 3 of bullcrap.
I know. So then it just got, I don't want to say it got worse, but people started to kind of develop an attitude with me. And then I started meeting their energy back. And I think that's where everyone started to be like, this, okay, you're kind of becoming difficult, which, whatever, I'm going to become as difficult as I need to be. My kid's still alive because of
Do
me.
what I'm telling you to do, please.
Yeah. I mean, I've already done my research on it. I've learned how to read x-rays, blood gases, all of this stuff at this point.
Yeah.
Just do what I'm asking you to do. I've done research on
Yeah.
it. Let's do it. So then we're going through September, and they were like, well, we want to wean her, but her CO2 retention. And that's when I started to kind of work closely with the RTs, and the RTs were like, well, her CO2 is a little bit more elevated than what we would like. However, her pH is normal. And I can't remember the last number, but the last number had showed that it was compensating. So it was like a metabolic
I
compensation
see.
sort of
I
thing.
see.
So even though it was elevated, it actually wasn't showing that she was in distress. It was doing the opposite. And the way she looked clinically was fine. So we got the permission to finally start weaning her oxygen.
Okay.
And some nurses were good with it, some were a little bit more cautious. Some were, oh, she braided, crank it up to 100. And that, I was like, just stop, okay? You're, I understand being cautious with her, okay? Trust me, I get it. She's one of those babies that they called her the mama drama because she was always drama.
Yeah.
I know. And I don't know why. I really don't know why. But she was always causing chaos up in there.
She just feisty. She
She
just
she
feisty.
was. She was. But she gets it honestly. Now that yeah. So then by then I was like, you know what? If you guys are telling me that you don't know how to wean her, let's talk to the PICU. Let's transfer her to the PICU. So we had the PICU director come down. The PICU director was like, look, we don't have any beds right now. We're pushing into October. We're pushing into RSV season. I would feel most comfortable if she did not come to the PICU. She stayed here and we can help treat her from here. And I was like, okay, cool, let's do
NICU
this.
floor.
Yeah, I was like, I like this. So
Yeah.
then he had put a plan in place. The NICU was like, okay, we'll try this. And it wasn't done. I'm just gonna say that it wasn't done.
The plan that
Um,
the PICU doctor put in place was not followed by the NICU nurses.
by the NICU doctors. The nurses were
Okay.
great. The nurses helped us
Okay.
advocate. I had no problem with the nurses, but
Okay.
I guess the doctors were just like, I don't really, whatever. I don't think that's gonna work. And then I started talking to
Okay.
the RTs. The RTs were like, no. I mean, this is how I would do it because the RTs that were in the NICU also worked in the PICU.
Yeah,
They
they
were
do.
shared. So they know what they're talking about. And I'm like, "Well, why are we
Mhm.
not taking the advice of our RTs right now?" So then a couple weeks passed. I was like, "I want another meeting with the PICU. I'm done with this."
Cool.
And we're getting close to Halloween now,
Okay.
and we're about to switch attendings again.
Yeah.
Um and the PICU comes in and they're like they took a look at her and they're like, "Why aren't we weaning?" And I was like,
Thank you.
"Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Mhm.
I've been screaming it. Why haven't we been weaning?" So he was like, "No, before I leave today, this is the change that we're making." And she was, the attending was pissed.
The NICU attending was,
Uh huh. She was pissed, and she was like, "Whatever." And so they made the change, and it was fine.
and she did, and she killed it. She
She
rocked
did
it.
fine.
Yeah.
So, so then I started researching new protocols. Now, with the backing of the PICU doctor, I was like, okay, I'm ready to put boot on the ground officially and start really. I got emails, I got numbers. Oh, I was blowing everybody up. The attending who I found out was coming in, I got her email. I sent her an email and was like, "Hey, I hear that you're going to be the attending this week or the next 2 weeks. Here's the protocol I want to try. Let's do it." Because my goal was I wanted to get her home. I was so tired. It's October now. I want my kid home. I'm
Yeah.
over it. So, she came in, she's like, "I got your email. I looked into everything. You did your research. I don't see a problem with it. Let's try." In those 2 weeks, she got my daughter down to to 2 liters, more than what any doctor did over the course of 2 months.
Let's just remind everyone that someone some point was talking trach
Yeah,
when she just needed more time
yeah,
for her little lungs to catch up and then to wean in a correct way that matches her, because I think, knowing what I know now and also hearing your story, adding it to all my experience, different babies need to wean differently. You can't
yes,
just put a one size fits all protocol and say they're 40 weeks now, we're going to wean them like this, they're 50 weeks now, we're going to wean them like this, because that doesn't always work.
nope,
And it really, I'm so proud of you for
yeah,
doing the research and
me too,
just sending this, taking initiative, you know what I mean? Because I
yeah,
don't think, let's just make, I would really like for this episode for all the NICU moms who hear this to hear advocate, to
yes,
hear research your own child so that you know what's going on, because there's a ton of people in the United States who have no idea what to do with a micro preemie.
nope, and myself included until I started looking into it.
Yeah.
I mean, you
No,
don't
me too.
know until you
No, I
do
had
it.
no
Yeah,
idea.
it's okay to be confused. I mean, it's okay.
Hmm.
However, don't stay in that situation. If you feel in your gut something your child is not getting the care that you feel they deserve, it's okay to make people uncomfortable. And
Yeah,
that's
ask
where my biggest
questions.
lesson came.
Mhm.
I was like, I
Yeah.
don't want to become the enemy. Like, I don't want people to hate me. I don't even care anymore. Is my kid alive? Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I
we're
did what I
improving.
had to do.
I figured it out. You didn't figure it out. I
Yeah.
figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did what I had to do. And that pisses me off that I even had to do it. Because
Right.
I don't do healthcare. I left healthcare years before this. I'm in cyber. I don't touch people. I don't even talk to people half the time now.
Mhm.
But I had to put myself back in there. And I was aggravated by that because I was
Yeah.
like I should have been able to trust you, and I couldn't.
Mhm.
It got to a point where I literally had to document every little thing. I mean, there was little things even when she was extubated that they have these huge monitors when you come into the NICU, and you I knew which one was her. I Of course I did. And
Obviously.
I would see it flipping out and I'm like, "Oh god, what's going on?" I would run to the room, and one time I did, and nonetheless, I do love the nurses. I love them to death. I don't think that they were a problem. I just think that sometimes they got a little too comfortable, but it's
Mhm.
okay.
I see. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I was like, why is she desatting? And they were like, oh, she's playing in her boppy. I'm like, okay, whatever. I opened the door. She had slid all the way down in her boppy. Her neck was crunched up. She couldn't breathe. So I
Mhm.
was like, what the? I go in, I pick her up. She starts satting normally again. And I'm like, why didn't you open the door and check on her? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? Like, it's little things like that where I'm just like, okay, okay, so I can't leave at all, ever. And then when I did leave, my she always had these mild retractions. I videoed them because I was like, nope, I no, I don't trust you. And when we did try to take
Yeah.
a break, and that's the funny thing is they always urged you to take a break, but I feel like every time that they tried, they would always follow up with like, she's retracting a little more today. I think I'm gonna call the doctor. And I'm like, nope, we're not doing this. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm taking a break today. I would pop up in 20 minutes and look at her and be like, she's breathing the same as she did yesterday. Here's the video.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired of you guys playing this game with me, and I'm done with it. I'm done. Like, these are her normal retractions. We're good. And then after we got done her, I guess, like breathing support, it came down to weaning the Versed, the Ativan, the Dilaudid, the
Yeah. All the
methadone,
big
all of them,
yep.
yeah, the clonidine, ever the kitchen sink they had put her
It
on.
takes forever to get because there's you because if you do it too quickly, your
Yep,
body will go into shock from not
yep,
having the medicines. And so there's so little that they get so many doses of them that you really have to like the weaning takes so long.
yeah. Well, it should have. However, I was told that because she wasn't intubated, that she's not feeling withdrawal. Yeah, I know. And I was like, oh, are you gonna go tell that to an addict on the street who's not intubated? Because they tried to tell me that she wasn't able to feel withdrawal, and I was like, bullshit. I'm in here right now. She's running a fever. She's vomiting. She's sweating. She's classic signs of withdrawal. And you're going to tell me she's not withdrawing? So when she needed a little bit more oxygen, they were like, "Oh my god, she's going into a pulmonary hypertension crisis." And I'm like, "She's withdrawing. Go slow." They would literally wean her medicine like every day. And I was like, "No, we got to stop this. You guys are going to push us back."
Oh
Finally,
my
we
gosh, I've never heard of that.
yeah, it was insane. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
insane. I was just like, I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm trying. Okay. I'm really trying. So then we're pushing into November. She had her G tube surgery and laser eye surgery on November 30th. The attending was
Okay.
like, let's schedule everything. I believe that she's going to be fine. Cool. Bet. She was. We got the surgery. They didn't want to extubate her.
Why?
They wanted to give her time. That was their reasoning. They wanted to give her time. And I was like, that's
How much
no.
time?
All I gotta say is I left that night and I apologized to the nurse. And the nurse was like, it's gonna be a long night. And I was like, it is. If there's one thing this girl hates more, it's intubation. I'm sorry. Before I even got there the next day, she had extubated herself.
Yeah.
And I was like, I told you, you should have took it out. Their whole, well, we just want to make sure she's comfortable.
She's not.
She's not. Yeah. Just take the dang thing out. And
Yeah.
nope, she did it herself. And I'm glad that she was dramatic the way that she was too, because they had showed up for rounds and she was like, bop, 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 smacking it. And they were like,
And
oh
whack
my
it.
God, as they were outside her room, and was like, oh my God. So they had to go in an extubator. So when I walked in and I saw the monitor freaking out, I was like, oh God. So I picked up speed and the doctor was like, she's fine. She just extubated herself. And I was like, oh, well, I'm proud of you, girl.
Good. That's
You got
fine.
it, girl. Yeah. And I was like, I told y'all she was not going to stand for this. And they were like, okay, well, here's the final goal. The last step that we were on was the sedation.
Medicine.
And
Yeah.
I'm in Baltimore City.
Okay.
Bad place to be in when it comes to sedation. They had already weaned her off
Okay.
everything but methadone and clonidine.
Okay.
And we
Those are
had a
still
new
heavy hitters.
mhm. So we had a new person come in and she was like, "What is your goal?" And I was like, "I want her home by Christmas. Like, can we
Like,
please?"
let's leave.
Yeah, I'm like, "Can we please just have her home by Christmas? Just that's all I want. That's all I want." And they were like,
Hmm.
"Okay, we'll try." And I was like,
Okay.
"Okay, well, let's do this." Well, we're getting closer. And then finally, they're like, she comes back to me and she says, I have a question for you. I don't know if you're going to be comfortable, but I want to ask you anyway. I was like, shoot, what's up? And she's like, would you feel comfortable weaning her methadone and clonidine at home? And I was like, babe, my job is to get her off of it, not me on it. Of course, I would feel comfortable doing it at home. And
Hmm.
she's like, all right, then here's what we'll do. We'll plan for a day on discharge. We'll get all of her oxygen set up on the DME company. We'll have everything delivered to your house and we'll figure out like a good day. And I was like, okay, cool.
So
Like,
did she
let's
go
do
home
this.
with a central line?
Mm-mm. No,
No?
she came home with a G tube with oxygen, pulse ox.
Okay.
She did come home with clonidine, methadone, sodium, potassium, sildenafil, even though she didn't need it, and Diarrhea.
Okay. Okay.
So those are the meds that she came home with. Um, but the day that they were talking about discharge, it was December 21st.
So
And
close.
we're close. And I was like, okay, this is it. We got the meds delivered. We had a problem with the DME company because their little caveat was that they wanted her to come home with a high flow machine. I don't know why. She didn't even use it for more than a month. But they were like, we would feel more
Okay.
comfortable if she's on 1 liter during the day, 4 liters when she sleeps. Whatever. They
Okay.
ordered the Airvo. Um, However, the DME company tried to tell me that um they weren't receiving the paperwork to approve the machine.
Okay.
So, before we get to that, because that's the end of the day story. The beginning of the day, the provider comes in. It's a Tuesday. She's like, "Okay, well, today I was contemplating doing discharge, but I don't think that I want to because it's eye exam day." So I said, "Okay. Um why does that make sense?" She's like, "Well, we want to monitor her for a couple hours after eye exam." And I'm like, "Okay, we can do that. Like, we can monitor
And
her a
then go
couple
home.
hours and then we can go home." And she was like, "Well, we typically don't discharge babies after a certain time." And I was like, "Well, that's a load of baloney because my friend got discharged at like 7 p.m." And she's like, and keep in mind, we had a new nurse who's never known me at this time. So I
Mm.
look combative. I do.
Yeah. 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 You
Um,
look aggressive.
yes. And then she was like, okay, well, there's meds that she's going to be given, and like, we just want to make sure she'll tolerate it well. And I said, okay, here's my other question for you. Are we getting eye exams outside of the hospital? And she's like, well, yeah, you're going to set that up the ophthalmologist. And I was like, okay, and we're not going to be readmitted every time she gets one, right? And they were like, well, no. And I'm like, okay, Do you see what I'm getting at? So why do we need to stay to be monitored if we're not going to do that when we're outpatient? And she was like, well, we just want to make sure that nothing happens. Like, we can discharge her tomorrow morning. And I was like, okay, but why can't we discharge tonight? And she was
I'm
like,
hearing I don't want to discharge her on my shift.
well, there's not that many people here tonight. There's going to be more people in the morning. And I said, okay, well, here's my last question. What can happen tonight that can't happen tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
And the nurse was like, can you just stop arguing? And I was like, you've never had my kid before. Stay in your lane. I'm trying to take her home. Thank you. Anyway, answer my question. What can happen tonight that cannot happen tomorrow morning? And she was like, I'll start the discharge paperwork. Thank you.
Thank God.
Thank you. Yeah. Because at that point, they were just like, I don't feel like fighting anymore. I don't. And that's fine because I didn't feel like fighting with you either. So then I went home, had to deal with the DME company. I sat there for like 2 hours with them. It was like 6 p.m. I looked at this lady. She looked like she was about to start crying. And I was like, I'm telling you right now, if my kid don't come home tonight, we have been in there almost 11 months. I am ready to come home. Please, this stupid ass machine that they want us to have, come to find out she was giving us the wrong fax number. I was like, I'm lady.
Just paperwork. It's just paperwork. We're just waiting on paperwork.
I
Lives
know.
are on the line.
Yes, literally. I'm like losing my sanity as seconds go. Come on now.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting back at the hospital. It was almost 7 p.m. We get up there though, the nurse was ready. She was like, I got everything. Let's put her in the stroller. Let's go. And then we had a nice little sign that had like all of the goodbye messages, and she had a little cap and a diploma for graduating, and it was a long journey. And then soon as I got in the car, you might have to cut this part out, which I can show you how to, but
Okay.
I texted my attorney and I said, we're discharged. And they said, cool, I'm contacting them tomorrow to retrieve all the records. And then that started the new journey. When they finally did get the records, she ended up having 17,000 pages in there. And they found that they were in there saying that I have no medical background. You need to speak to me like I'm 5 and I don't know anything and I'm
This is written in her chart.
mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Yeah. And I was like, cool. And then we had a friend who unfortunately got admitted when we were getting discharged. And she had told me that she overheard some of the nurses talking about me. Of course, without saying names. But she, after getting to know me, she kind of put it together who they were talking about. And they were saying that I was doing too much when I was there.
False. Be a medical mom. Come at me.
Right.
Let's go.
Right. And I was like, I did too much? Oh, I don't think I did enough.
I'm
Are
gonna do
you
the
kidding
most.
me?
I waited too long. Do you know what I
I
mean?
waited too long to be combative. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I waited too damn long. I wish I would have done it earlier, but you know what? She got home and they tried to make us come back every week for a blood gas. Absolutely not. I switched pulmonologists. The pulmonologist still to this day has not done a blood gas. He asked us how she did on the Airvo machine. I was like, bedtime is a nightmare. She cries all night long. And he's like, then stop it. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, just stop it. So we stopped it. That's how easy it was.
And then it was like, yay.
Yeah. And then
Someone listens to me.
yes. And then she developed issues with like feeding. She was vomiting. She had lost a significant amount of weight. So then GI became concerned about her weight. And I was like, however, her respiratory
She was
system.
super duper big though, right? Like she had like a certain amount that
She was
she could
24
lose.
pounds at 11 months old.
Girl, Carter just turned 3 and she's 27 pounds now.
Yeah.
That's insane.
She looked like they joked that for Halloween she should be the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Okay, that's what I was about to say it. I was like, she's a Michelin Man baby. Like
She
she is a
is.
chunky
She
girl.
was. They thought in their minds that by overfeeding her, she would grow lengthwise. And I was like, that's not how that works. She grew wide, which put more pressure on her lungs. And that causes respiratory issues. So when she started vomiting, nonetheless, it was incredibly stressful. We had to have a suction machine,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
was so unpredictable. She lost so much weight that it, in a way, helped her respiratory system because she was able to breathe comfortably without all that fat on her.
Yeah.
And
Move
then
her
she
neck
started,
around at nighttime and
yes,
be able to get, yeah. Because
she had to sleep elevated.
I don't know what Kyrie does, but Carter like does the open. She opens her whole chest up when she's sleeping,
Yeah,
especially when she's kind of sick. She like throws an arm over so that she can get a good space.
yeah, yeah. So she used to sleep like that. She used to go like this.
Yeah, just to have it open. It
Yeah.
just probably feels good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now she sleeps crazy. Like she's all over the bed. Like ugh, it's a lot, but it took us a long time, and then getting home is when I felt like our relationship started to kind of be different because I was with her all the time. He was at work, and
Yeah.
I think it definitely put a strain on our relationship a little bit. And right as we started to get back to a good spot, we had gotten pregnant again. And we
So
did
how
not
long?
want any more kids.
Because you have a medical kid, and you're like, we're done. That
Yeah.
was ridiculous. Yeah,
Mhm.
same, same. Okay, so how long between when you got home and when you found out you were pregnant with the twins?
So she came home in December,
Mhm.
October of 2022.
Okay, so you only had 10 months at home with her before you were like, and let's start over.
Yeah.
So, okay, so how, ooh, there's a lot. Okay, so how, so how did like her care plan change or like routine? How did that feel whenever you got home? Were you like more in control? Did you feel like even though she might have been having some hiccups, she was still progressing, or like how did that
Yeah.
go?
So we definitely took control over everything, especially the weaning. We
Mhm.
weaned her much slower and safer. We did have to learn how to administer Narcan just in case. I yeah, because of the methadone and the
Oh,
clonidine.
because of the okay. How
Yeah.
long did it take you to wean her down at home on the medicine?
So instead of their schedule, I think they wanted us to wean like every 3 to 4 days. I waited at least 6 to 7. So I
Like a
think
week,
it
yeah.
took yeah, so I think it took overall maybe like a month or two to wean her off of everything, but she didn't experience withdrawal doing it that way. And
Yeah.
then we were able to get off of it, and then it was just the Diaril, the sildenafil and everything after that. We left her oxygen and stuff alone for a little bit just because of all the other stuff that we didn't feel
Yeah.
like dealing with.
Yeah.
We wanted to give her time. And then ultimately a couple months would go by, and she was so itty bitty now, but she was mobile. She was crawling, she was standing, she was babbling, being like your normal baby, I
Toddler.
guess.
Yeah.
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 Um and oh man, just thinking about all that time. It's alright. Reminiscing.
It's
Um,
okay. That's like part of this whole thing is like you
yeah.
want to tell your story and you want to share, but like it's also still right here. She's
Yeah.
only 4, right?
Yeah.
You kind of just did this, it was only like 2 years
Yeah.
ago that she was still like in and out of the woods,
Yeah.
So
We had to
it's
bring
still
a
like really
suitcase with
real for
us.
you.
It is, yeah. I mean, to take her anywhere, I think for the first year of her life, I didn't take her anywhere. I was
Yeah.
scared. I
Hmm.
didn't want her to get sick, and we did chest PT, so I don't know if you know what that is, but like she
The
loved it.
shake
And
vest.
so we did it with like a mask.
Oh,
So
okay.
we had like a little cup and we would do it, and she loved it. And I honestly think that's a good reason as to why her lungs were as good as they were. Because
Exercise.
there's a lot of good benefits to CPT, depending on who you talk to. Some people don't think so. I definitely saw the benefits because she was able to wean off of her oxygen pretty quickly. I think a lot of the reason she stayed on it was so long because of me. I'll be honest. I think I was scared.
Yeah.
Um, I just I don't know. I was so used to all of it that by the time and she didn't need it anymore, I felt like I needed it for comfort.
Did you just let her hang at like 1/8 of a liter for like a month or something?
For like ever, honestly. She didn't come off oxygen until the twins were born. And the only reason she stopped being on oxygen, so that was May 23rd of 2023.
Okay.
Is it? May 22nd. I had to look at my arm. I got there. Of
I
2023.
love that you have a cheat sheet. Just
Yeah. So that's when she came off oxygen, and that was an accident. My mother-in-law forgot to put it on her one
turn it
night,
on.
and then she never needed it again. So she's been oxygen free for 2 years.
Yay!
Yeah, we even had RSV and pneumonia and like a double ear infection, a sinus infection last December. So of course I was not doing good mentally. I was freaking out, and we especially hearing pneumonia, that's what almost took her from us the first time. So I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, is this how we're
Well,
gonna
and
deal with this?"
RSV killed rhinovirus kills. Rhinovirus is what puts NICU babies back into the hospital. Just
Yeah.
regular a cold. Just a
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah. I know. So I was like, "Oh my god, I don't know if I can do this." I
Hmm.
don't think I slept at all. And then we took her to the doctors, and I couldn't go in. I could not go in. My husband took her in because I was like, they're gonna put the pulse ox on her, and I can't mentally see it. I can't. I can't. I feel like it's gonna put me back in the hospital. I have so much
Yeah.
trauma from the hospital that I just can't mentally handle this right now. So my
Yeah.
husband went in and confirmed she did have RSV. She listened to her lungs. She did have pneumonia, and they were putting her on antibiotics. And I was like, okay, like what about her oxygen saturations though? Were they okay? Like, are they calling an ambulance? Does she need to be readmitted? And he was like, babe, her oxygen's at 98. And I was like, oh, God.
Yay!
Thank gosh. We needed no oxygen. We needed no
Good.
hospital stay. All she needed was her Flovent, her steroid, and then albuterol, and then the antibiotics, and she made it through all of that with no issues. And that's what really kind of pushed me to the. I was like, I need EMDR.
Yeah, I need to figure out how to be okay with just taking my kids back to the doctor, the
Yeah,
regular doctor when they're sick. Yeah.
yeah. So I started EMDR, and that I've been in EMDR for over a year. And that honestly has been the best decision of my life. I finally convinced my husband to do it. He's been in it a couple months, and even the
Mhm.
change with him, I can see it's been so good. I really recommend it to anyone who experiences the NICU and like
Yeah.
any form of trauma. Nonetheless, you do have to relive it to reprocess it, and I cried a lot. But I also now I don't stress as much when she's sick because I'm like, she's got it. I know she's fine.
Yeah.
Whereas before, it would literally, I would almost need a grippy socks day. Like just even thinking about her being sick, it was debilitating.
Yeah. No, I 100% understand. I get that feeling. It doesn't really go away. It's just kind of like it's just like a very short like, "Ooh, I got it."
Yeah,
And then you're like, "I'm fine. We
yeah,
can do this. It's okay."
yeah.
That's
Oh,
insane.
hold
This
on.
is an amazing story.
Thank you. I just realized I have to go get my toddler.
I was gonna say you have a heart out.
Okay, okay. That is not the end of the story. There will be a part two. But this was Traci and my's first face-to-face conversation via the internet. And as you can tell, we sort of got off on a couple of tangents there. But it is so nice to talk to another NICU mom, another micro preemie mom who just gets it exactly without explanation. It's really easy to get carried away, as you can see. So subscribe and click the bell so that you are notified when part 2 gets loaded, because there will be a part 2 of Traci and Kairi coming right up next episode on the Tiny Titans podcast. Bye.